how do you get the employer brand manager job? That's what we're going to talk about today. I mean, I know this whole subject of employer brand is a super niche-y specialist kind of focus on a series of videos. There's a reason why I don't have 4 million views. It's fine. And this is like the niche of the niche, how to get that specific job. And that's what we're going to talk about. I've helped hire and I've been hired as employer brand manager a number of times. So hopefully I can give you some knowledge, some wisdom, some helpful tips on how to get that next job. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button, right? That way you're updated whenever new videos come out. Also, if you're not on YouTube, share this video with someone who needs it. Please, they need this information, I think, and you know who that person is, so share the video. All right, so how to get that employer brand manager job. Now, I want to make it clear. Some places think of employer brand manager not as a manager of a team or a manager of people, but a manager of an idea. Right? In the same way that a content manager doesn't necessarily manage people, they manage the content. You are managing the employer brand. And that's important to know because despite the fact that it says manager in the title, don't think you have a team. You won't, almost, not certainly, but certainly more than likely than not, be a team of one, and it's you. So walk in with that mentality, which means to do a great job here, you need a couple of things to bring to the table. The first thing is some specialized skills, some hard skills. I can write, I can shoot video, I can do social copy, I can do Photoshop, I can tell stories, I can present, whatever hard skills you have to define them. You have to spell out how you have those skills and that how you can use those skills to tell an employer brand story, to support an employer brand strategy. The hard skills are numerous, which means you won't have all of them. You're going to need a lot, and you might take a look at the 16 employer brand competencies video I made earlier, so there's a link somewhere. I don't know where it is. Take a look at that video. You can see it's impossible for you to do everything. It's possible for you to do everything poorly. I mean, I've done pretty much everything poorly now and then, so it's possible to do the job, but you need to know what you're good at. So define what you're good at. Take that strength and then build upon it. It's a foundation on how you're telling your employer brand manager story. And what is that story? Well, if you have hard skills, and you should, what are you going to do with them? How will you use them to tell that story? How will you talk about the company's employer brand? There's a lot of ways to do that. You can tell a people story. You can tell a culture story. You can tell a structure story. You can tell a growth story. There's a lot of stories you could be telling. You can tell all those stories. And maybe you should, but that's not what this is about. The manager's job is to understand and kind of be the lighthouse of the brand to say, this is what this is. This is when we know we're getting real close to what our brand is all about and when we've deviated too far. There are millions of things a recruiter could say that are great about your company. A lot of them don't mean much. The some that matter, that's where you live. And you are there to make sure everybody's aligning as close to those stories as possible. That's why you're the lighthouse. The third thing you are is a strategist. That means, how are you going to get from here to there? How are you going to apply your strengths? And I don't mean your personal strengths, though that's part of it, but your company strengths to go from here to there, right? Understanding what your strengths are, what resources you have, where you're best, and how to apply them in places where others are weak so you can maximize your benefit, that's strategy. So, what are you going to do in this job? Are you just going to simply say, we're a great place to work, and as many times as possible? That's not a strength, by the way, and that's not being applied to anyone's weakness. It's just boring. But if you can tell a compelling story about someone who's blind and who has this job and they got hired and this is how their life has changed because this company cares about blind people or cares about giving people who might not be obvious candidates a chance to succeed, that's a hell of a story. How are you going to tell that story? How are you going to put that story in front of the right people? This is all strategy thinking. Maybe it's not blind people. Maybe it's about leadership. Maybe it's about the products you're building. Maybe it's the culture that allows you and fosters everyone to build amazing products. There's a lot of stories you could tell. There's a lot of stories that drive that strategy. So what's your strategy? So showing that you can have hard skills, that you can execute plans, and that you can build a good strategy. These are the 3 core building blocks of what employer brand manager is. The unspoken one, and it's unspoken because it's really hard to put on a resume, and it's really hard to kind of say, yeah, they can do that, is the the social skills. And I don't mean social media, I mean, can you hang with people at every part of the company, help them feel comfortable with you being there, and get them to talk? Get them to align with you. Get them to become allies for what you're trying to do. Some call it political, some call it social, but it's that sense of how do I, without any real power or authority, which, by the way, you don't have, how do I get people way above my pay grade to say, I want to help you? That is the fourth major part of this job. But again, it's really hard to put on a job posting. It's really hard to put on a resume. That's the sort of story you should be keeping in your back pocket for the interview, because everyone else is going to talk about, oh, I have these hard skills. Oh, I know how to build a plan and execute. A handful of people will get the strategy part, but it's the person who says, yes, I have all those things, and let me tell you the story about how I got the senior vice president of something, 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 something to become part of my program to build this thing or to talk about this thing. How did I get an hour of their time, which, by the way, is really valuable? How did I get them to burn an hour of their time with my project? And how that hour of time turned into X and Y and Z. Your ability to show how you can corral all these people is the interview story that gets you that job. Employer brand manager is a hard job, and it doesn't matter if you come from university recruiting or social media or marketing or recruiting. It doesn't matter. We're all learning this job together. It is a tough job. But if you think about those jobs in the 4 different buckets I just talked about, you're far more likely to get the job you're looking for. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you later.